1919 was an auspicious year in history. The First World War ended, ushering a drastic change in the world order. The Philippine Islands had been a U.S. territory for 2 decades and was promised independence under the Jones Law of 1916. Progressive reformers saw the country and its people as a major target for modernization, and education was its main weapon. 7 forward-looking Filipinas came together in 1919 to create a school where young women could gain the knowledge and skills that would make them modern women. Paz Marquez Benitez was the first president of the Philippine Women's College. Jose Abad Santos was its first chairman of the Board of Trustees. Francisca Tirona Benitez was the second president, and with her husband Dean Rado, guided the school from a house on A. Flores Street to its iconic Taft Avenue campus. In 1932, the college became a university, making PWU the first university for women in Asia founded by Asians. It provided a space where innovations in education flourished, and young people were encouraged to be the best that they could be. For over 100 years, the Philippine Women's University has been known as a leader in quality education. In 1934, PWU moved into its main campus on Taft Avenue, and since the 1970s has been co-educational. Located in the heart of Metro Manila, it is easily accessible by public transport and surrounded by affordable housing. Today's PWU offers undergraduate and graduate courses in several fields of study. Business and management programs are responsive to the needs of industry, using evolving technology for global competence. PWU graduates excel in arts and sciences, education, social work, and diplomacy. Its fine arts and music programs have produced outstanding graduates through a holistic education treasures heritage as well as excellence. PWU has pioneered in fields such as food science, nutrition and dietetics, medical technology, pharmacy, and nursing. PWU continues to play an essential role in producing graduates who possess the skills that make them competitive in the country and anywhere in the world.
A united community.
We may not be blood related,
but we Patriots are one big family.
Being part of the PWU community strengthens us.
Through the years, we support each other through good times and bad times.
We Patriots always have each other's back.
It's a big honor to be part of a community that is open to the ideas of each other.
It drives us to excel and be the best version of ourselves.
That's the standard of excellence that we Patriots strive for.
I'm thankful that this community lets us be who we want to be.
We thrive because we accept each other for who we are.
And like a family, we treat each other equally.
Actually, PWU gave us a home and helped us to be a patriot in society.
We may have different individual drums and instruments,
but we march the same beat together as one united community.
Do you want to march with our community of patriots?
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot.
Philippine Women's University, Doctor of Hospitality Management, Master of Science in Culinary Arts, webinar entitled Tourism and Hospitality Strategic Roadmap, Success Indicators of Competent Business Planning and Organizational Development. To start with the program proper, let us all pause for our opening prayer led by Mr. Eugenito Gaviola, a Doctor in Hospitality Management student, to be followed by the singing of the Philippine national anthem.
We begin this prayer by putting ourselves in the presence of our Lord. Our ever-loving Father, the core of every reason, the source of truth, you who made the earth and the heavens, are the ultimate goal of every knowledge seeker. The infinite wisdom, the cause of all that is good. We are truly grateful for this opportunity to gather together in this webinar as community. Despite the challenges we face each day, yet you remain and give us strength to carry on the responsibilities of bearing intelligence and using them for better purposes. We now humbly ask you to join us in our endeavor to explore the wonders of life and the world for knowledge change. In whatever we learn today, we become more grateful, grounded to you, who is truth, who is love. We pray that you bless our speakers, the fount of your infinite knowledge, that they can share something worthwhile. Despite the limited time we have, they can channel all they know and share to us the beauty and truth of living as your child. We pray that you guide our participants, the seekers of your boundless knowledge, that they may continue to persevere in the search and be deemed worthy to share what they will learn from today's session. Sanctify us, O Lord, not because we are worthy of it, but because we believe in your love and mercy, that at the end of today, we can take something that's amazing and meaningful. This we ask and pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Kayang magiliw, pero saan sinanganan? Alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyat ka ng magiting. Sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiin. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bukaw. May dilagang tulat, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdiligdig. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidinig. Lupa ng araw ng at ipagsintabay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya dapat may mga ami ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Mabuhay! Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant and wonderful day to all the participants, guests, students, admin officials, and to the rest of the beautiful people joining us today live via Zoom and Facebook from all over the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Kathleen Liz Morante, a proud PWU-DHM student, your host for this afternoon. And let me introduce to you my co-moderator, Mr. Eugene Benita.
Greetings, partner, and greetings to each and everyone, and mabuhay, partner. I am Mr. Eugene Benita, also a proud PWU DHM student. So one of the PWU's trust is to provide educational events like this for the continuous provision of quality education, not just for our students, but for everyone. So this webinar will be tackling topics related to business planning and organizational development, the concepts essential in running and putting up a business.
That is true, partner. Stability, resiliency, and innovations are always the topic in every webinar and forum of PWU as a form of community support to our industry. To further our learning, to get access to new hospitality innovation, all to support the shaking industry. And that is why PWU DHM and MS Culinary Arts students have curated an advanced webinar for us this afternoon.
That's correct, partner. Okay. So this afternoon will be at the presence of the most prominent names in the field of business planning and organizational development, and they will be properly introduced later. Okay. So, but we further start our event, let us remind some beautiful reminders. Okay. So please ensure a stable internet connection. Rename your account using the following format, or also comment your names using the following format. Your school name, your name, okay, for example, PWU dash your name. Make sure that your microphone and cameras are turned off for the whole duration of the event. Avoid logging in and out in the virtual room. There would be 5-minute question and answer portion after the 3 speakers' presentation. Also, you may post your questions or comments on our FB Live. For the evaluation form, okay, kindly click the link at the chat box to be presented later, or also A QR code will be seen at the last part of the presentation. Please take note that only registered participants who will complete the evaluation will receive the e-certificates, and the submission of the evaluation form is until May 8, tomorrow, at 10 a.m. only.
Thank you, Sir Eugene. A great way to recall the reminders of this webinar. To all our wonderful audience, are you all ready to start the program? Can I see a little bit heart reaction if you're ready? Perfect. Again, thank you for joining us in this event. The Philippine Women's University's Graduate School of Hospitality Management and Master of Science in Culinary Arts warmly welcomes you all in this webinar entitled Tourism and Hospitality Strategic Map, Success Indicators of Competent Business Planning and Organizational Development. And now, for her inspirational message, it's my pride and pleasure to introduce the reason behind this webinar success. Our advisor for the course Business Planning and Hospitality Industry, let us all welcome Dr. Angelina Blanco.
A pleasant good afternoon to all. Welcome to this webinar entitled The Hospitality and Tourism Strategic Roadmap, Success Indicators of Competent Business Planning and Organizational Development. A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. President Benitez, Dr. Felina Yang, Dean Prime Abellana, our professors, Dr. Sardena, Dr. Calusa, and the other PWU professors, colleagues, professors from other universities, graduate students, PWU undergrad and graduate students, and all our audience from our other schools, a pleasant good afternoon. So the objective of our webinar today is to identify the role of business continuity planning and disaster recovery on the widespread impact of the pandemic crisis, especially on business and the supply chain. Also, number 2, to obtain various perspectives, empirical models, and novel insights in rebuilding a sustainable hospitality and tourism and resilient organizational capabilities. Also, to identify and discuss innovative ideas in culinary trends and creative marketing channels that emerged during the pandemic. So this webinar is brought to you by 3 classes: Business Planning, Doctorate Business Planning in Hospitality, Advanced Culinary Arts and Hospitality, that is MS Culinary Arts, and also the MS Culinary Arts Garman J. So a pleasant good afternoon to all. So we have 3 distinguished speakers this afternoon. Thank you very much to Chef Buddy Trinidad, the president of the Pastry Alliance and a Philippine certified rock star in the kitchen. We also have Chef Anthony Ballesteros from the DTI Negosyo Center speaker, and Miss Jennifer Palaksa Baltasar, owner and GM of the worldwide Adjet Yang Travel and Tours. So sit back and relax as we learn from our distinguished speakers. So we shall certainly have a fruitful afternoon. So sit back and let's listen to our distinguished guest. Welcome and mabuhay. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angie, for that sincere and uplifting, inspirational message for everyone. So guys, without further delay, let us now start the presentations. And to introduce our first speaker, may we call Miss Sherry Fonny Gonzalez.
Good day, everyone. I am very pleased and greatly honored to introduce to you our first speaker, with his love to share his knowledge and experiences with us. Our first speaker is a chef, food consultant, and entrepreneur. He is the executive chef and owner of Food Negosyo, chef and consultant at Ballesteros Food Service Consultancy. He helps corporate companies in the food and beverage service industry to stand out from the competitions and to elevate brand. He was one of the facilitators and lecturers at the Department of Trade and Industry Negosyo Center, and also the founder of Filipino Gourmet Chefs, Filipino Restaurateurs and Hoteliers Group on Facebook. Our first speaker is formerly an instructor of Hospitality and Tourism Management at Jose Rizal University and STI Global City. He studied culinary arts at the Center for Asian Culinary Studies in San Juan and studied culinary arts, hotel institution restaurant and management at De La Salle College of St. Benilde. He is currently engaged in Sodexo On-Site Services Incorporated, a global catering and food service, as an executive chef, where he started as assistant manager and became contract manager to commissary manager and head chef. Today, he is going to share with us his expertise in hospitality industry. He used to work in fast food, casual dining restaurant, catering services, hotel, and cruise line. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome to our virtual floor Mr. Anthony Ballesteros.
All right. So while we are waiting for our first speaker partner, Miss Kate, are you here? Yeah. So
Yes, I'm here.
yeah. So I'm very excited sa mga susunod na mangyayari this afternoon. So can we give us or can we give our participants a quick preview of what will happen this afternoon? So we have invited 3 speakers, right, Miss Kate?
Yes. And actually, this webinar is hosted by 3 classes. That's why there are 3 speakers, and they have each different speakers that will have their own expertise and mastery when it comes to the webinar.
Yeah, and our first speaker, okay, is Chef Anthony Ballesteros, and I think he's here na po. Okay, so good afternoon,
yes.
Chef Anthony, Chef Anton. Kamusta po? Magandang araw po, Chef Anthony. You can, hi sir, ayan, I can see you na po.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. So without further ado, once again, partner, our first speaker, Chef Anthony Ballesteros. Okay, the virtual floor is now yours, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for inviting me for this webinar, and for Chef Ray Michelle Hernandez. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to have this webinar also again with your classmates. So again, thank you for those who are online right now. I'm, by the way, again Chef Anton. I'm the founder of Filipino Gourmet Chef. So if you're familiar sa group na to, I would like to invite you also to be part of it. You don't have to be a chef if you're in the industry of hospitality. Ang advocacy namin is just to help our countrymen. Hopefully, in the future, we could have a culinary foundation where we could help our countrymen magkaroon ng mga scholarships. So, yun yung talagang gusto namin i-promote bilang isang mga chef sana. Hindi lang kami para maging rich or famous or what, you know. So, I think we have a purpose. So, anyway, Itong webinar na to, we will focus more on the business planning and organizational development. And who will share the slides, by the way, Chef Ray? Yung mga things that we can discuss, you know.
Yes, sir.
Is it going to be Chef Ray, or I can do that?
Yeah, I think you can share it po.
I can share it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hang on, huh? So first and foremost, as a chef, I'm working in the industry wherein diverse, no? Merong food services, then there's also catering at the same time, there's also consultancy at the same time on the side, then meron also culinary 101 on the side, and then meron ding ginagawa minsan na digital marketing. So right now I have a business. It's digital marketing, meaning nung nag-pandemic, what I did is, dahil nag-close down, I thought that I have to, be more resilient also with the situation. So I have to study web designing, video editing, graphic designing, para mas makasabay ako dun sa kung ano yung uso o yung in demand. So you cannot operate because it's locked down, but you can actually sell content online. So meron akong mga content materials like HSE, meron akong marketing strategy, social media marketing strategy, I have recipes. So I'm selling this content now online. That's what I do. So that's my e-commerce business. I'm also in the process right now. I have just finished my business plan. I'm gonna have a brand. Ang pangalan niya, Tacos. So I have a business partner. Yes? Okay, so I'll continue. I have a business plan already, and we're going to start our business. It's going to be a food cart naman. And at the same time, I'm also doing a culinary 101. I'm also employed, but I'll be leaving the company soon because I want to focus much on the business side ng culinary and sa consultancy at the same time, because I have lots of offers right now. Right now, I'm in Subic, by the way. I have a business consultancy here. And at the same time, I'm teaching the client also hands-on kung paano mag-operate ng food business in the future. So basic culinary muna yung tinuturo ko sa kanya. And then, meron din akong mga binibenta mga recipes. Sometimes, meron din consultancy regarding operational naman. So I'll be on Karamoan Island. So May 16, I'll be having a consultancy naman for these restaurants. They have 2 restaurants, one in beachfront and then one in Karamoan, a cafe and restaurant at the same time. So ang issues nila mga usually operational, inventory management, training ng tao, food cost, how to address yung pilferage, so many things. So what I'm going to share with you guys, yung aking mga experience, how we address yung mga concerns or issues. This is basically yung dito laging nag-arise yung mga concerns, no? So let's say mag-open ka ng restaurants, mag-open ka ng any food business. Bago ka pa lang as in wala pa, hindi pa nag-open. So make sure that you have an effective communication, no? Yung effective communication, hindi lang siya nag-start or nag-end or nagsisimula lagi dun sa kapag operational na. From the very beginning, para hindi ka mag-cram, simulan mo na kagad sa business plan mo. Ilagay mo kagad mobilization plan. Ano yung mobilization plan? These are the things that you will do 1 month, 3 months bago ka mag-operate. So ilagay mo na doon lahat ng mga kailangan mong gawin. Paano yung pag-secure ng business permit, DTI, tax, pagkuha ng mga tao, uniform, barangay permit, lahat. Ilagay mo yung status nun. No? So maybe magkakaroon din siya ng link dun sa critical path or dun sa action log. Now, an action log naman or plan is when you're operational na. When you're operational, it's an Excel sheet wherein nakalagay doon yung mga concerns. Let's say you have issues on HSE. HSE, when we say HSE, it talks about health, safety, security, and environment issues. So repair and maintenance, malaking issue yan ngayon kasi nasa pandemic tayo. No? So it's very important that you write down yung actions, ano yung magiging action plan, and who will be responsible for the action, and then kailan yung target date. It's very important, no? Detailed. You have to be very, very detailed when you're a chef and when you're a manager, diba? And then on the financial side naman, and also on other sides ng innovations or let's say ng promotions, meron kayo dapat at least weekly and monthly report. Okay, you have to communicate this every now and then through email, through meetings, virtual meetings, through Viber. You know, pandemic gave us so much of responsibilities. Sabi ko nga yung naging parang bukang bibig ng mga tao after nung medyo lumuwag na, masyadong parang radical, masyado yung mga tao magtrabaho ngayon. May pagka-animal. Okay, I'm just kidding aside lang yan. Pero sobrang parang monster yung mga tao. Very aggressive. Very, very aggressive to do the meeting, to talk about so many things. So that's why we created also a daily drumbeat. Yung daily drumbeat, we renamed it. Dati daily briefing lang to, no? Yung weekly catch-up, dati weekly meeting lang to. People, change so many wordings para maging more attractive, more parang engaging in the thing. Daily drumbeat, So when you talk about effective communication, you have to have hindi lang yung attractiveness ng words, but at the same time, it should be more empathic sana. Ang napansin ko nga, sabi ko nga parang monster yung mga tao. Masyadong aggressive. Sometimes they tend to forget na yung mga tao mayroong pinagdaanan, may pinagdadaanan. Naging masyadong sobrang, minsan wala na sa hulog, sabi nila. Medyo masyadong hindi makatao minsan yung pagturing. So we have to be very careful with that. Kaya yung picture na nakalagay dyan, parang isang father at isang baby. Hindi nagsasalita yung baby, alam natin, yung infant, no? Pero emotions are there. We have to include emotions when we're talking to our clients, when we talk about our subordinates, yung team members natin. We have to be very careful. Kasi there's a lot of things na pwedeng mag-escalate. Pwedeng makaakala mo everything is okay, biglang nag-resign. So, especially when you talk about critical path. This critical path, ito yung mga critical na items, concerns, issues right now that you guys will be talking about when you're operating, especially in the food industry. There's a lot. There's so many critical items. How to get, pass through sa isang BIR tax concerns, how to get permits, how to get POS, how to install yung yung banner, logo, so many things we have encountered. Tao, when you need 200 people and it's pandemic, it's very hard. It's very hard to get chefs right now, to be honest. It's very hard to get banquet manager, sous chef, line cooks. It's so hard. So be very careful when dealing with critical path. Sometimes you need to be more precise and more transparent with your client or with your team members kung nasaan na talaga kayo. Kasi kapag hindi nyo masyadong natutukan yung critical path, yung mga items na dapat yung talagang importante unahin, everything will fall into, parang failure. Hindi fall into place ang mangyayari. So if you have a big client right now, or if you're trying to put up a business, ilagay niyo yung pinaka-critical, sa tingin niyo pinaka-mahirap na magiging issue niyo or concern niyo. Risk assessment is very important to talk about. When putting up a business, or when you're going to talk to a client for food services, let's say, meron laging risk. Because every now and then, there could be a lockdown. No? Alam natin yan. Hindi natin alam kung kailan. Yung lockdown, yung bagyo, yung lindol. Ang dami ngayong kailangan nating i-consider bago natin ituloy yung any operations natin with regards to hospitality and food industry. Due diligence, syempre, financially, we have to ensure na feasible ba to? It's going to give us revenue, or we're really parang punching the moon dito sa sitwasyon na to. Okay? So you have to really talk about this as a team, tong mga items na to. People management, eto pagdating sa operationals, I would say pasay na, unahan ko na lahat. Pasay and old school yung sigawan, murahan sa loob ng kusina at sa kahit anong operation. There's so many chefs right now who have experienced kung ano yung naging result ng ganong attitude, ng ganong character. And there are chefs still right now who's doing that, who's like that. We know Gordon Ramsay did that because na-expose siya sa ganon. Hindi natin kailangan gayahin yan. Meron ako mga kilalang mga Pilipino na ganun, mga chefs, no? And it demoralizes people. It does not give us a very good protection as a manager, as a leader. When we curse, we cuss, we demoralize people. I don't think it's a good way of being a manager. So let's be very careful. I think, as I believe pa rin, mas mabuti pa rin na tayo bilang mga manager someday, maging leader tayo by giving them promotions, training, acknowledge their effort. Let's do a team building. Yung mga ganitong webinar, it helps them. It helps them a lot. And then, do not manage people. Manage a system, make a policy that really manage the people. We know how Jollibee is very successful. They have systems development managers, directors. They really focused much on training and system. Maraming mga restaurants until now, walang standardized recipe. Until now, walang standardized na sistema on how people should be trained, on how people should be hired, on how people should be acquired kapag mag-open ng restaurant. Alam natin na it's time. I think matagal ng time to na dapat bago magbukas yung isang restaurant, yung isang business, kailangan well-trained yung tao. Does he know how to do the job? Kasi if he doesn't know, there could be failure, there could be injuries, there could be a lot of accidents that could happen. It's an HSE issue kapag ganun na nangyari. Hindi na train masyado yung tao, hindi niya alam kung paano yung gagawin niyang way, paano mag-inventory, paano mag-cut down ng costs. Magdidire-diretso. It's a domino effect. And it will hurt you afterwards when you're a manager, when you're an entrepreneur. It will hurt your revenue. Yung food cost, lagging. Big issue yan sa food industry. And sa restaurant, sa hotel, laging big issue. People doesn't know na yung pag-aaksaya, yung pagkasama yan sa dapat tinitrain yung mga tao kung paano hindi naaaksaya yung tubig, kung paano mag-butcher, mag-production. Lahat yun dapat tinuturo bago pumasok yung isang empleyado. Kasama yung training na yon, dapat merong way of giving them the right materials, the right equipment, right uniforms, and yung right slides or deck. Again, communication, papasok ulit dito. No? So, it's again the managers and the HR and the chefs or the front of the house managers who should really ensure that this happens. No? Walang ibang magpapatupad dito, kundi yung management talaga. Next, of course, we should not discount kapag business plan ang pinag-uusapan. We should have and always have marketing strategy to, ginagamit natin lagi. Yung unique selling proposition natin. Let me just share with you with Makati Medical Center. So I was with Sodexo 2017 pa. So I started with Sodexo as an assistant manager, and then hinawakan namin yung Makati Medical Center. So if you can see a picture on the left side, it's an old food cart trolley, no? So hot lang yan, hot temperature lang yung pwede mong ilagay dyan. So yung mga trolley nila doon sa Makati Medical, bulok na, maingay na, kinakalawang na, mabagal na, mahirap itulak, sobrang bigat. When Sodexo came in the picture, the team proposed to buy and invested. Sinagot ng Sodexo. I'll just share with you. Yung Happy Cart. A Happy Cart is a Korean-made trolley. Yung nasa right side sa baba, no? You can see. It's a hot and cold. So in one tray, kapag nilagay mo yung isang tray, nandun yung hot items, and then nandun na rin yung cold. So yung food trolley na to, meron siyang cold, meron siyang ref. At the same time, na-maintain niya yung hot temperature ng pagkain. So walang issue pagdating sa HSE. Alright, so innovation is very important. And then savings on the client. How do we do this? If you're in the food service provider, or if you're in the company wherein you provide service, you think not only yung revenue. Isipin mo lagi, ano yung pwede mong ibigay sa client mo na pwede makatulong sa kanya? Kasi at the end of the day, if they see that you're concerned of their savings, sir, if we do this, siguro you propose this, no? You know, you can save a lot. And if they see that, that's one of the things na ginagawa ng aming kumpanya. We always look at ways on how we can tell the client, on how we can tell them na, sir, you can save on this. Kapag kinuha natin to, kapag ginawa natin to, ito yung makaka-save sa inyo, mas kikita kayo ng malaki. Nare-realize nila bigla, okay, they're not just here to give us kung ano yung kontrata na kinuha namin sa kanila, kung ano yung service lang. But at the same time, they go beyond. You know, they're thinking out of the box. They're offering other things na hindi naman dapat kasi hindi hiningi. But it's very important. unique selling proposition right now that is being used also. Again, yung pandemic-proof, resilient operation. Sir, let's say you're proposing for a business on another company. O ito, sir, kahit bumagyo, kahit magkaroon tayo ng lockdown, sir, ito yung gagawin natin, ito yung matitipid nyo, hindi kayo lalaki ng gastos. So there's so many things. Kailangan lagi yung business plan kasama to. Think of it. Dapat resilient yung operation. Pandemic proof. Okay? Ito, dapat sinasama na rin sa marketing. So Sodexo has a very, let me just, pagyabang ko lang to sa inyo. Sodexo have a very high standard in terms of HSE. And ako, I want to do this also for my business. No? So kayo, sana, kasi mababa yung kalidad ng ibang mga company no? Pagdating sa HSE concerns. Kasi magastos siya. But look at it in a long term, o yung business nyo, o kung meron man kayong client, yung HSE concern lagi, mas confident yung tao pumasok sa isang restaurant o sa isang company na alam nila na mataas yung safety and security. Pagdating sa kung paano hinahandle yung food, yung mga empleyado, very much concerned. Pagdating sa safety, no? So, very important yan. Yung risk assessment. Again, some people think it's just, ano ba, why do you have to do this? Do you think it will happen? You'll never know. We will never know. Okay? So it's better na yung mga risk, ma-assess na natin as early as now, i-anticipate na natin, isipin na natin, pwede natin yung ilagay. Lalo sa mga malalaking company, corporate buildings, hospitals, healthcare, they always have engineers, they have facility managers, property managers who will ask you always with the risk assessment. Trained employees. When we have trained employees, you're confident na yung product lalabas ng maayos, yung trabaho magiging maayos. No? Of course, you have to have a well-researched and developed products. Diba? We know na yung mga failure kapag iba-iba yung lasa, iba-iba yung itsura, iba-iba yung pag-present ng pagkain, it sometimes has a lot of bad impacts, di ba? Lalo kapag pinost yan sa social media. So we have to make sure that kung ano yung pinakita natin sa social media na magandang picture, kung ano yung pinapromote natin. You have to make sure that it will be uniform sa lahat ng branches. If you have a lot of restaurants, if you have mga tao na iba-iba yung experiences, kailangan well-trained sila. Kailangan meron kang standardized recipe. Kailangan meron kang mga pictures how it should really come out. So you have to have maybe a good graphic designer or marketing team to really make sure na walang lalabas na hindi maganda yung pictures or your products, diba? Kasi it will hurt your company. Again, lastly, avoid false promises as much as possible. If we could avoid it, but of course, there's no perfect operation sa hospitality industry. Alam natin minsan talagang kahit anong gawin natin na sistemang makakabuti para sa lahat. We want to address as much as possible, major concerns, but we can't do anything about it sometimes, diba? So, yun yung share ko sa inyo for the time being, guys. So far, wala na akong share na iba. So, I only have 15 minutes, I think. So, ang last lang na pwede ko ma-share, kapag sa business and sa organizations, I always share this first lang. Colossians 3, chapter 23 and 25. Whatever you do, you're a manager, you're a chef, you're a supervisor, you're a team leader, you're a businessman, you're the CEO, you're the president, whatever you're doing. Always think that whatever you're doing right now, you're working at it as working for the Lord. Kung presidente ka ng kumpanya, ikaw may-ari ng kumpanya, ibinigay sa'yo ni Lord yung business na yan. Pinagkalooban ka ng blessing para maging blessing ka sa ibang tao. It's not easy. Isipin mo kapag ka nag-drain ka na pagod ka na hirap ka na. Work at it. Work your way as like working for the Lord. Because you know in the end, that Lord will give you reward in heaven. But God knows also when you're doing something really not aligned with His, diba? Yung kanyang katuruan. So, yun lang, kapag ka nadidrain na kayo, pagod na kayo, ayaw mo na, always think, meron kang purpose. Ako, kapag pagod na ako, hindi ko na kaya. Niisip ko, I still haven't reached yung dream ko na magkaroon ng Culinary Foundation. Kasama ko si Chef Ray Michelle Hernandez dyan sa dream na yan. At someday, matuloy. So, hanggat hindi pa tapos, wala pa yon, hindi pa ako titigil. So, thank you so much everyone for listening and for taking time to be there. Okay? So, God bless everyone.
There you have it. Thank you so much, Chef Anthony Ballesteros, a food consultant and digital entrepreneur. So some takeaways from Chef Anthony would be, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and experiences when consulting new businesses, how communication is effective, especially in operations, the mobilization plan, we learned a lot about it. And of course, risk assessment is very important in running said operations. And of course, how people management evolve and improve, and helping the clients regarding the UPS. And as you said, Chef, there is no perfect operation in the hospitality, but we must address it as it comes. Thank you for sharing. Again, Chef, we will see you in a bit for the panel discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
And now, to introduce our second speaker, may we have to call on the virtual floor one of our classmates, Mr. Marcelo Villalub.
It is with great pride and honor to introduce to you our next speaker. Our speaker is the owner and general manager of Agatin Travel and Tours, a multi-awarded travel agency accredited by the Department of Tourism. She also founded Aphrodite Face and Nail Spa and Agatin Local Shop. She is a former instructor in two renowned universities in Baguio, St. Louis University and University of Baguio. She is a frequently invited resource speaker and trainer nationwide in tourism-related topics, sales, entrepreneurship, inspirational talks, and others. In 2015, she co-authored the book Local Guiding Services, published by Phoenix Publishing, which is used by senior high schools, teachers, and by professional tour guides nationwide. Moreover, she is the charter president of Bliss Tour Guides Incorporated and is currently the president of Baguio Candasan Lions Club. Furthermore, she was awarded as an outstanding achiever in entrepreneurship by Philippines Top Choice Award in 2016. And recently, she was awarded as the best public speaker during the Regional Lions Leadership Club International. With its strong love for children, she started a charity program called Provide for Children. She is also a Paul Harris Fellow contributor and benefactor at Rotary Club International, a Melville Jones Fellow at Lions Club International Foundation, and a UNICEF advocate for children. Her most recent endeavor is creating and hosting Ma'am Sijan channel on YouTube. The channel aims to educate people about the Igorot people, the Cordillera culture, and to feature the different tourist attractions in the Philippines. It also goes to inspire the viewers, provide hope, advocate responsible tourism, and helps promote everything that is local. The proceeds generated from her channel goes to her advocacies and to the people she is helping. She is an entrepreneur, an author, a public speaker, a teacher, an influencer or a YouTube content creator, an advocate and a civic leader, and lastly, a dedicated wife, and a loving mother to 3 wonderful boys. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Jennifer Palama Baltazar.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon po. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear po.
All right. Okay. So, allow me to share my screen. Can you see my screen po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to share with you something very special. But before I'll dwell on my my screen, I just have some questions muna para nakafocus kayo sa akin. How do I stop sharing my screen? Stop share. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much for having me today. So I hope everybody is well and everybody is still on their toes and they still have big hopes for our industry. I know that a lot of you are, maybe some of you are now losing hope, especially when the pandemic struck. And then me too. I've been through a lot during the pandemic, especially kami po sa travel industry because syempre traveling requires physical attendance, physical participation, di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng nag-book ka tas you won't go to your travel. So it's really a very difficult times. But today I'll be sharing with you how are we able to recover this pandemic? What were the strategies that our industry in general has done, especially the hospitality and tourism industry. I've been listening to chefs sharing this afternoon, and then I'm impressed with how he has presented. Because technically, these are the theories that we should be applying in order for us to be able to continue business in spite of this pandemic. So today, I will be sharing with you the practical applications naman based on my personal experience, my observation, and of course, the hospitality industry recovery strategies and plans during this pandemic. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, I'd like to ask you a question. Please do chat it down below. Chat nyo dyan sa baba. Okay, chat nyo dyan sa baba. What do you think is the most important value that the industry has? Or what is the weapon or the value that our industry has that made us overcome this pandemic? I'd like to hear from you, everyone. Please chat below. Ibaba niyo dyan sa baba. Mag-chat kayo, mag-answer kayo. I want to see if everybody is really there. Baka naman decoy lang yung nandyan sa nyo, participation ninyo. So, innovation and creativity from Joseph. Liza says, resilient. Tech, sino to? Si Angelito, changes and resiliency, empathy, Arnold, resiliency. I'm very, very happy that you guys are giving me positive values and weapon that we have done during this time of pandemic. Patience, resiliency, dedication, resourcefulness. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Ayan, dahil alam niyo ano nga ba yung naging solusyon natin ngayong pandemya. Also, I'd like everybody please to maximize your reaction button. Can you give me a round of applause? Yung button na round of applause or clap dyan sa baba. I want you guys to be active. Kasi virtual na nga lang tayo, inaantok pa tayo. It's just the time. I want you guys to really understand what I will be sharing with you today. Not just me, but also the other speakers. So that you will maximize the day that this opportunity that was given to you. I only have around 15 to 20 minutes. I hope sulitin po natin ito. Alright? Can you do that? Can you give me some love there? Para maging active tayong lahat dito and maipasok talaga sa puso at isip natin yung ating mapag-uusapan ngayong araw na ito. Alright? Can we do that? Give me some love. Give me some love or some like or kahit anong reaction dyan para makita natin kung talaga bang nandyan kayo. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, my topic for today is what you have given me, hospitality and tourism strategic roadmap, competent business planning, and organizational development. So lahat ng mga sinabi nyo kanina ay totoo. In order for us to bounce back, we need to make sure that there is still business continuity. And how do we do that? Through competent business planning. and organizational development. Let's talk about pandemic first before I give you the strategies. Marami sa atin nagtatanong, are we going to recover? What is the hope for our industry? Let me give you a data I took from UNWTO. This is a projection. Okay, if you look at this data, this graph, there are 3 projections of how we're going to see our future in our industry. And we do have blue, which is scenario number 1. Can you see it? Just give me a heart or a thumbs up if you can see my screen and the graph in front of you. The second scenario is, of course, the green scenario. And the last one is the orange. The most ideal one, of course, is the orange. No, not the blue one. And the worst case scenario would be the orange one, right? If you look at the graph, 2019, that's the time when we started to go down, our industry. And then 2020, when we were like stagnant, we were like dead as an industry. Diba? There is a very minimal revenue, there's very minimal movement. Based on the projection, the most ideal scenario would be the blue one. Sabi niya dito, by second quarter of 2021, we have recovered already, almost back to the normal business in the industry. And then sabi naman dun sa green, that scenario number 2, quarter 2 of 2022. And the worst case scenario is 2023 pa daw tayo makaka-recover. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these are actually good news because the line is going up. It means that, yes, we will recover if that is your question. It's just a question of when. Kailan nga ba? So these are 3 graphs. Now let us see the data. Okay? These are projections, but of course, the data will speak better. Let's see the data here in Baguio City. I'll show you how we're going here in Baguio City. Paano nga ba yung recovery natin? Okay, this is taken from the tourism office. If you look at 2019, that's the blue graph. Okay, this is an actual data. Kanina kasi projection lang yun eh. Diba? So this is an actual graph. 2019, there's about 1.5 million tourist arrivals total for one whole year in 2019. In 2020, there's about 270,000 lang. That's when March, nakita nyo, nagsimula na siyang bumaba because here in Luzon, I think it was declared around March 16. Hindi ko makakalimutan yon. Lockdown na yung northern, dito sa Luzon. So that's when tourism really died down. April, May, bagsak. No tourism at all. Lockdown days. Okay? And then 2021, we had 328 tourist arrivals here in Baguio City. Okay? Look at the revenue. 2019, 3.8, I think this is 3.8 billion, not million. And then 2020, 2022, simula nang nagre-recover. Okay, so what's the point here? The point here is that there is progress. Kanina projection lang, but this is an actual data. It means that we are now about to recover. I think ang masusunod dito is yung this one. I think yung modest projection, which is the green one, yung 2022. Diba? Now, it's 2022. Tignan natin yung data. Kasi yung pinakita ko right now sa inyo is 2022 and 2021. I want you guys to remember the data. 2021, there are 328,000 tourist arrivals here in Baguio City. For 1 year, for one whole year. Let's look at 2022. This is the recorded registered arrivals through our Visita app of Baguio. This data came from Baguio Tourism. This is just like 3 months kasi December 20 to March 20. December, January, February, March. 3 months lang yan ha. And look at the registered arrivals. There's 578,125 tourist arrivals. Ulitin natin yung data noong 2021. The whole year is 328,000. Ngayong 3 months pa lang this 2020, it's already 578,125. So what's that what's the message here? The message here is that we are now bouncing back. How did we do it? How did we make it happen? How are we able to survive? How are we able to implement business continuity in spite of this pandemic? My answer to you is through strategic and sustainable recovery plans. And I have given this one an acronym, which I will call REPAIRED. Yan. Can you see it, ladies and gentlemen? Please give me a thumbs up or heart if you can see my screen on REPAIRED. Can you please type dyan sa box, type nyo dyan sa chat box baba. How did the tourism industry recover? How are we recovering? Through repaired or through repairing. Okay, I am going to discuss each one of these acronyms and explain to you, ano nga ba, what does this symbolize? Okay, marami sa inyo nakita ko na simulan nila, sinabi nila yung term na resilience. And that's the very, very first acronym dun sa repaired ko na strategy. So today, we're going to talk about the road to sustainable recovery and resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hospitality and Tourism Strategic Roadmap, that's what I'm going to present to you based on my personal experience, observations, and of course, through research here applied in our industry. Let's start with letter R, which represents, number 1, resilience. E represents established safety and security. P represents promotion. A represents adaptive. I represents innovative. RE represents responsible. We have become responsible as well. And D represents digital. Ladies and gentlemen, pag-usapan natin, this is our road to recovery, what we have done, how have we recovered. All right. So first and foremost, resiliency. It says here that the definition of resiliency is the ability to resist, absorb, accommodate to, and recover from the effects of hazard in a timely and efficient manner, including through the preservation and restoration of essential basic structures and functions. Resiliency is being able to survive the storm without dying. Nakita niyo po this one, yung parang patay na puno. Diba sabi niya, it's bending, right? It's bending because the wind is so strong, but it did not break. That's resiliency, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, mabibend tayo, masasaktan tayo, ma-hurt tayo, but it will not break us. It will not kill us. It will not topple us down. That's resiliency. And napakita yan ng ating industriya. Maraming nagsara. Including my business, I almost closed it. I'm sure si Chef, yung mga negosyo nila, baka ano lang din sila, at the brink of closure na rin sila. Marami po tayong pinagdaanan. Pero, it did not break us. That's how resilient our industry is. Look at this very beautiful flower. It has blossomed kahit natigang na at dry na yung lupa. That's resiliency, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about strategies of how we have become resilient. Tignan niyo to. Through COVID-19, top Philippine restaurants just want to survive. That is true. Not just the restaurants, even other businesses like us. We just want to survive. Sabi nga nila, survival of the fittest nung pandemic. And we have shown that indeed we are strong, we are resilient. Diba? Parang ako personally, my driver of why I did not close my business in spite of abono, overhead expenses, because I don't want my staff to lose her job. Pinapangalagaan ko yung negosyo, but at the same time, my staff, ako naman, mas practical for me to close it. Why? Wala akong overhead expenses. Diba? Business is down. But I had to make ends meet in order to support my staff. Anong ginawa namin ng mga negosyante? We've tried to be flexible when it comes to work arrangements, di ba? Nag-offer tayo pa ng 13-month pay. Instead na ibigay natin sa December, binigay na natin earlier during the lockdowns ng mga 3 months para meron pa rin silang panggastos sa kanilang pamilya. Di ba? Kumbaga sa Tagalog, sabi nila, para-paraan. Di ba? So that's resilience. That's show of resilience. Okay? Yung iba, kami naman, nagkaroon kami ng flexible work schedule. Like for example, yung staff A ko, Monday to Wednesday, yung staff B ko, Thursday to Friday, mga ganun. Para lahat pa rin, meron pa rin silang datung, kumbaga. Meron pa rin silang pang-fund, pang-gastos, pang-araw-araw. Let's continue with we established safety. This is what we have done during the pandemic. Of course, the first step to any crisis is, of course, to respond. How did we respond? Number one, we have to establish safety first. Yan yung pinaka-ano natin, because the crisis that we've undertaken was health. It was a health issue. That's why we have to make sure that we establish health safety. So what did our government do and our stakeholders in the industry? Ito, we protected stakeholders by managing suppliers. Narinig ko kanina, tama yung sinabi ni Sir, si Chef, sabi niya, don't manage the people, you manage the system. And that's what we have done today. During the pandemic, we managed ito, yung mga suppliers, yung sistema natin, how to deal with our clients, how to deal with our employees, our business partners, our partners in the industry. That's what we've done. You need to put up a system kasi mahirap kapag ka individualized ang pag-manage natin or very personalized. We need to make sure that you set up a system and the system will be followed by everybody. Diba? Less subjective, okay, more objective, right? So next is we have implemented protocols. We observe and execute strict standard health protocols. Next, we have invested in acquiring tools that will protect us or establish the health safety for everybody. Ano yung mga tools na ginamit natin? Di ba? May PPE, bumili tayo ng mga, yung iba pa, yung mga malalaking establishments, nag-invest sila for fogging, mga ganyan, thermometers, from simple to big. And these are still investment in order for us to respond to the crisis positively, and through this, we're able to establish safety. Diba? And we, of course, pinaka-ano natin dyan is to mitigate, diba? Yung risk, yung control risk na tinatawag. The companies assess their highest ranking risk and develop a plan to alleviate them. Diba? So, establish safety muna. That's how we responded to this pandemic. And then after establishing safety, we also need to establish security. Because of course, you cannot run a business without a client. Do you agree? Agree po ba kayo? Hindi naman pwedeng, okay, safe po kami, na-establish mo na, we will implement protocols. But you don't have a client. So what you need to do is to make sure that you send a message to your guests that, hey guys, we are safe, we are secured, you can come here. You are securing confidence, di ba? Na parang pwede na ulit kayong pumunta dito kasi safe naman dito, maayos naman yung implementation namin ng health protocols. Right? So what have you done? What was the strategy here? We tried to aim to remove doubt by promoting maximum hygiene measures being implemented. Next, we conveyed confidence to guests by showing them safety measures observed in your establishment. Maraming mga hotels, even sa airports, pinapakita nila how they do their fogging because you are trying to establish security and confidence from your guests that, hey, telling them that, hey, you can come here again. Diba? Avoid guests needing to use public transportation. We've done that. Kaya nga meron yung, diba, nagkaroon tayo ng parang we encourage them to use their vehicles o kaya naman nagkaroon din ng parang distansya, 1 meter distancing. And of course, we try to update progress by monitoring the number of cases, vaccine rollout. Kasi yung mga tao, ang ano kasi natin dito, panglaban natin dito sa crisis na to, syempre, yung herd immunity na tinatawag. So pag ang tao nakita niya na, ay, ang dami nang nagpapaboost, tumataas ngayon yung confidence niya. Ang daming nagpapa-booster na, ang daming nagpapa-vaccine, tumataas yung confidence. That's why we're monitoring the number of vaccine rollout at the same time, not just the number of cases. Diba? So, we're done with E. Tapos na tayo sa R. We're done with the E, yung establishing security. What is the next strategy? Okay? By the way, before I go to the next strategy, just give you an idea, vaccination of the tourism workers dito sa Baguio City is this one. This is our status. Because then at the end of the day, this is really the solution to this problem. Ultimately, herd immunity, vaccination. And in Baguio City, we have reached madami na 2,970. This is just for the tourism workers ha. 'Di ba? Sila yung pinakaunang-una na na-vaccine talaga. Kasi sila yung isa sa mga frontliners. Aside from the medical frontliners, tourism workers din dito sa Baguio. So sunod, tingnan niyo to. Fully vaccinated from Abra to Mountain Province. Dito sa Baguio City, look at it, 102% from the target population. Diba? So, that's a good news. And hanggang ngayon, meron pa rin booster naman. Booster naman yung ini-encourage sa atin. Okay, so let's proceed to letter P. Repaired. Diba? So, let's go to promotions. How did we deal this pandemic? How did we survive? Ito po, yung mega promotion. Heavy promotions po talaga. Diba? Siyempre, establish mo yung security, confidence ng tao. Ngayon, ang susunod niya titignan, who offers the best promotion? Pag sinabi na niya na, ay, okay na pala akong magbiyahe sa Baguio City. Susunod na is, sino ang itatap ko? Which establishment? So, who offers the best and the most safe na parang kind of welcome to tourists, then that's where I'm gonna go. Ito, just to give an example, this is Baguio Country Club. You know, this is the lowest price ever that they've done. They offered 1,000 pesos. Diba? Lifetime, 1,000 pesos per room. And their rooms range from 6,000 and above. 5,000 siguro yung pinakamura, 5,000 plus and above, up to 20 plus thousand pesos. In-offer nila, 1,000 pesos only, lifetime, no expiry date. You know, I was one of those who bought. Siyempre, sino naman hindi kakagat doon? No expiry eh. Diba? Why did they do this one? Ladies and gentlemen, the name of the game when it comes to business. Remember this one. Can you please type it down? Cash is king. Type it down below, please. I want to see if you're really participating. Cash is king. What is king? It's cash. In business, you cannot pay suppliers with a smile. You cannot pay suppliers with other supplies. They need money. Why? They also need to pay their staff. Cash is king. Kaya ito yung gusto nila. They just want to survive. Malulugi ba sila? Hindi naman, kasi kailangan nila ng pera in order to pay for the operations. Remember, nung pandemic talaga, survivability is the name of the game. We need to hang on. And yun, 1,000 pesos, ang dami. Actually, maganda nga for them yun eh. Kasi maraming mga non-members pa ang nakadiscover about their, accommodations. Also marketing. Tignan mo to, si Cebu Pacific, 99 pesos lang. Okay, so basahin natin. Liza, sabi niya cash is king. Diba? Si Dr. Angie po, your credit is good but we need cash. Correct, Doc. Doc Angie, totoo yan. Mako, cash is king talaga at this time. So promotions, what else were other promotional strategies that we have done? Again, balik ko muna. Meron pa tayong tinatawag na staycation, di ba? Staycation, yun pa yung ibang mga offers nila. And yun, natuwa ako. Kami naman sa amin, meron din kaming mga promotions, minimal promotions din sa amin na heavy. Pagdating sa package din namin. Like for example, si Country Club, yung 1,000 niya, hindi ko na pinatungan yan. Ipapackage ko na lang sa package ko. Tapos minimal na rin yung cost para pang-attract din ng mga tao na, wow, Baguio Country Club na. Because tour operators are actually parang middlemen. We're middlemen. We have different travel components, kumbaga. Okay? And these are our suppliers. And one of which is, of course, accommodation. So if the accommodations and our suppliers give us a good rate, ipapasa namin yan sa kliyente and it becomes a promotion also for us. Diba? So that's P, repaired. Now let's proceed to A. Yan, adaptive and flexible strategies. Ang dami po nating naglabas at nagsulputan ng mga estratehiya para makapag-adapt tayo sa kung ano yung new normal na tinatawag. Tignan mo yung mga medical care. They have offered 24/7 medical care. Diba? In tours, establishments, even mga restaurants nga, nakikita ko, meron na silang wipes, alcohol na available. During our tours, we always make sure that there is a sanitary kit. Diba? So these are the ways of how we have adapted. Meron din yung mga accommodations from Superior, they upgraded their room to, deluxe or to maybe executive suites. Sa restaurants naman siguro, they have upgraded their meal to imbis na parang you just added some value na lang. Imbis na babaan mo ng sobra, you put in some added value to your offering. Diba? Parang hindi naman sobra ding mababa. So that's how we have become flexible. Okay. This is another story that I'd like to share with you. It's a restaurant. I don't know if you're familiar with this one. The Forest House. They're one of like a semi-fine dining restaurant here in Baguio City. So after 19 years, they have closed because of coronavirus. This is a perfect example of flexibility and adaptability, diba? During the pandemic of our industry. Yan, semi-fine dining yan, sikat na sikat sila. 19 years, akalain mo. Diba? So they've been awarded for years by Tatler and other awarding agencies. And then what have they done in order to adapt to the situation? Semi-fine dining, tapos ang mahal kasi ng renta nila doon, around 300,000 if I'm not mistaken, yung sinabi sa akin ni Ate Raquel. Tapos ayaw silang bigyan man lang ng discount. Dahil grabe. Diba? Ayaw man lang silang bigyan ng kahit consideration during the pandemic na, sige, wag ka munang magbayad. There are some business owners talaga na ganon, pero wala tayong magagawa. Diba? Maybe, I don't know, they don't, I don't know, I don't want to say bad words against people, but it's just the way it is, diba? So since they cannot maintain anymore the overhead expenses of the rent or the place, what she did is this one. She came up with delivery system, which is uso na ngayon. Raquel's Cuisine by Forest House. Nandun pa rin yung brand niya, pero it's a different kind of offering, diba? Nagdi-deliver na sila. And you know what? No more spending on the puesto or the house na rirentahan nila for hundreds and thousands of pesos. Bakit? Sa bahay na nila ginagawa yung food. Yan. So delivered direct to your home. So naging restaurant na yung bahay nila. I mean, naging kitchen yung bahay nila. That's where they cook the food and they deliver it to the houses. Delivery. Diba? That's how we've become flexible. Kami naman sa Agatiang Travel and Tours, this is what I've done during the pandemic. How have we become adaptive and flexible? Ito. Nag-offer po ako nitong Agating Local Shop. My advocacy po kasi is really to promote our local tours. Local tours. I started as a tour operator talaga. Why? I wanted to be able to offer a meaningful and relevant tour of Cordillera. I want to present Cordillera in a more, hindi lang tayo puro sceneries. The people will not only appreciate the sceneries, but I also want them to appreciate and understand our culture, especially as, by the way, I'm a Igorota. I'm a Cordillera, and we have lots of misconceptions about the Igorots, and that's what I wanted to do, diba? I wanted to support our local economy, be able to enlighten people of our culture, be able to help our local workers, artists, artisans, ganyan. So, ang ginawa ko, since I cannot bring people to Baguio at that time, walang tourism eh, diba? Then, I will bring Baguio to them. Kaya we came up with what we call Agatiang Local Shop. So yung Agatiang Local Shop promotes everything that is local of Cordillera and Baguio. Then we also deliver. Di ba usong-uso ang delivery noon, nung panahong yun? Ito, may mga weaves kami, na may face shield. Nag-adapt kami. Kasi ang new normal that time was that we need face shield, we need mask. So we need to come up with ways on how we need to innovate on how we can be flexible with this pandemic. Na kailangan tuloy pa rin ang buhay. Business needs to continue. Meron din ito, yung mga locals na produce natin. Kasi I really want to help our farmers. Like for example, season na ngayon ng strawberry. Okay, I want to help the farmers. Strawberry, go. Nag-ship ako sa Manila. Nag-ship ako sa iba-ibang lugar dito sa Pilipinas. Even yung mga sa Wood Shepherd, yung mga nawalan ng negosyo dahil sa pandemic na mga souvenir shops. Yan, pati yogurt ng aking auntie. In-offer ko din, diba? As long as it's quality, I was able to offer yung persimmon ng Sagada, mga ganyan. So these are some of the ways of how we have adopted. Meron pa kaming isa, nag-offer din ako ng online OJT programs, of course, webinars, because I am a public speaker talaga. So, and we also have virtual tours. During the pandemic, nag-offer kami ng virtual tours. There were siguro 2. We had 2 tours. Now, virtual, I talked about Cordillera. I used Google Street in order to show our guests where and how, na parang talagang pumupunta sila doon. At the same time, more na more ang aking spiel. So that, you know, when everything gets normal, they'll be able to, they'll have an idea of how to go to Cordillera, how good is Cordillera, the offerings of the Cordillera, and so on. All right? So these are some. And I have this channel also. Kasi gusto ko in all aspects, I want to share about our culture. Since I cannot bring guests to us, I'll bring our guests virtually through my YouTube channel. It's called Mom She Jen. Yun. Kaya I'm now a content creator. It's Mom She Jen. Nagsimula ako dyan, I talk about trivias about Baguio, the different tourist spots of Baguio, mga ganyan. And surprisingly, nag-click po siya talaga. Nag-work siya. And there are about, konti pa lang naman yung subscribers, like parang 8,900. Malapit ng mag 9,000 yung subscribers noon. In fairness, marami talagang sumusubaybay nanonood. Basta everything about local. Recently nga, pati local politics. Kasi nga, it's the voice of the people. We also have, kasi nga, it's more of getting to know Cordillera in general per se. So, virtual tour through my YouTube channel and through tours, actual tours with the guests. Ito yung mga ways namin kung paano po kami nakapag-adapt dito sa pandemic. Okay, so that is, tignan nga natin yung nag-comment. This is good strategy because out of sight is out of mind. At least your brand is still online. That's true, madam. Diba? And then one of my reasons why I put up the channel is because, of course, diba? I won't deny it. I want to promote our travel agency talaga through the tours. Like I give you my trivias, and then if you want to go to Baguio City in the future, you can now contact Agaching Travel and Tours. That's marketing strategy. Okay? Marketing strategy. Kasi makakalimutan ka ng tao pag nag-die down ka together with the die down of our industry. Hindi ka nagpakita, hindi ka naging live on social media or active, then you'll also die down. Pag nag-recover na tayo, biglang, wala ka na sa eksena, wala na yung brand mo, nakalimutan na nila. So, yun, maintain ko yung staff ko. Ako almost everyday nagpo-post pa rin sa social media. Let's talk about I, repaired. We're done with A, now let's go to I, innovation. This is the name of the game. This is another important methodology or weapon that we have really maximized during the pandemic. So innovation, travel bubble. Ang travel bubble nagsimula yan sa South Korea and another country. Parang since they have minimal COVID cases, ang ginawa nila, they exchange tourists. Okay? And then we adopted it here in Baguio. And the first ones to apply it is between Baguio and Region 1. We have this we called it the Ridge to Reef program. We're in Baguio City and then Ilocos exchange tourists as well with a minimal requirement. Well, I guess minimal in the sense that mas open yung turista natin sa isa't isa. That's travel bubble, okay? That's innovation. Another innovation we've done during this pandemic is this one. Diba nag-innovate tayo? How? We have repurposed. Some hotels have repurposed their accommodations. Instead na nakatenga yung accommodation mo, why not make it as a quarantine, diba? We've heard a lot of accommodations na naging quarantine accommodation. Diba? So it is approved by DOT and Bureau of Quarantine Agency, mga ganyan. So these are some of the innovations that we've done, our stakeholders in the industry have done. Let's proceed to our E, or responsible and sustainable observation or sustainable development. I want to reiterate this one because of sustainable development. We have appreciated to be more responsible. In fact, during this pandemic, we have realized how much we have destroyed, or maybe we have, I'm seeking for the better term, exhausted our environment just because of tourism, diba? And the silver lining for me of this pandemic is being able to appreciate sustainability, appreciate the nature that we have. Here in Baguio City, Why do people come here? Because of nature, because of the weather. And sometimes the residents of Baguio did not really value that because it's there na given na dito na to eh. But nung dumating yung pandemic, mas na-appreciate natin yung sarili nating environment, 'di ba? Now we are becoming more responsible. 'Di ba? Here I want to share with you this one. This is from WHO. Okay? Not WHO. I think United Nations World Tourism Organization yata galing to. So this is sustainable goals, sustainable development goals. There are 17 goals. We have no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being. Kasi ang sustainability is not just about environment. It's also about, ito nga, hunger, diba? Good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality. Diba? It's inclusive. Sabi nga nila, if we need to, leave no one behind. We need to adopt inclusivity of everybody. Na parang, if we want progress, we should be able to look at our brothers and sisters, our environment, the fish, the animal, and the earth to go up and bounce back together progressively, inclusively. Not just you, hindi lang ako, hindi lang ikaw. Dapat lahat tayo. This is what it means by Sustainable Development Goals. Lahat tayo, yung inclusivity. Leave no one behind. That's the goal of this project. Leave no one behind. Okay? What else? Clean and sanitation, affordable and green environment, decent work and economic growth, diba? Pati ekonomiya. And thus, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, blah, blah, blah. And partnership for goals, even-based justice and strong institutions, life on earth, life below water, diba? It should be everybody, inclusive nga. Yun ang ibig sabihin nitong Sustainable Development Goals, all right? In the tourism industry, because of this pandemic, there are new trends that has emerged. Nagkaroon na tayo ng, tinatawag natin na, although meron na yung eco tour before, pero parang mas na-enlighten and mas na-promote eco tour, ecotourism, diba? Green tourism. We also have what we call naging uso na yung biking, meron na ngang bike tourism eh. Dito sa Baguio City, meron na kaming bike races, bike tours, mga ganyan. We also have forest bathing, and we have a lot that are in line with this sustainable development. Okay, next one. Look at this one. Environmental impact of Philippine tourism. I want you to see the graph. There's energy, diba? Yung energy ng carbon emission, that's the dark blue. And then we have light green ba to? Yung sa energy naman. Tapos water is the purple one. Just look at the graph itself. Ano daw ba yung naging impact or negative impact ng turismo dito sa tatlong ito, yung energy, carbon emission, and water. Noong 2019, yung pinakamataas. Pero noong 2020, look at that. Yung impact na is very low because there's no so much activity. So I hope that when we get back to better normal, we are able to learn from this pandemic and be able to become more responsible and apply sustainability in our actions, in our planning. And we have to embrace talaga yung sustainable development. Sustainable, not just protecting our environment, but yung inclusivity. Everybody, everything around us. Diba? We need to be responsible, especially the employers out there. Your decision matters. Every single decision, big or small. We need to think of how it will impact not just your employees and your business, but also the environment, the small people, diba? Yung workers ba, suppliers mo ba ma-impact? Inclusivity, leave no one behind. This is just a clear demonstration of the energy consumption. 2020, ang baba. Carbon emission, syempre wala namang masyadong sasakyan. Diba? Even nga use of appliances. Hotels have, very heavy usage of air conditioning. Syempre carbon emission din yun. Diba? So, bumaba din. Water consumption, definitely. That's an obvious. Hindi ko na kailangan explain yan. Because of low activity sa turismo, low din ang water consumption. This is just a silver lining. Diba? I'm just showing it to you. Okay? So that we will be more, when we get back to better normal, we can be more responsible and always think of development, but not just the normal type of development. We need to think of sustainable and responsible development and planning. Okay, next, let's go to letter D because it's the in now, digital marketing. Sinong mga millennials dyan? Sumagot nga kayo sa chat. Okay, sino sa inyo ang hindi lalampas sa isang oras na hindi tumingin sa cellphone o sa computer? Diba? I want to see some hands. Raise nyo nga yung kamay nyo. Sino sa inyo yung nasa digital world na? Ha? Can I see sa chat below? Just say present. Just say present or you raise your hands. Okay? Digital marketing is the way to go. If you want your business not to lose business, then you have to go online. Kailangan i-digital mo na yan, te. Sabi ni Maria Neriza, present. That's true. Ako, every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, unless I'm super busy with something or I'm talking. Why? Because I'm the one managing our social media accounts. Ako mismo yung social media manager ng aking mga businesses. Even yung aking channel, I also make sure na nakaka-engage din ako sa mga viewers ko. Diba? That's digital marketing. This is the new age. It's the new era. It's all digital. If you're not digital, then don't come up with, huwag ka nang magnegosyo kung wala ka rin namang digital platform you will promote. Kasi nga, ang hirap ngayon ng face-to-face, di ba? So people sometimes will look at the internet first. I-google mo na nila yan. I-check mo na nila yan sa Facebook. Who among you, like ako, who among you searches muna sa Google or sa Rotten Tomato, yung review ng isang movie bago ka pumunta sa cinema or bago ka manood sa Netflix? Sinong katulad ko dito? I make sure na isa-search ko muna yan, yung reviews niya. Even the restaurant. I look at the reviews first, the rating, diba? Before I avail of any service. It's all digital. Diba? Pag nanonosebleed ako sa anak ko, isa-search ko rin sa Google. Minsan mas magaling pa yung mga bata. Nasa internet na lahat compared before, diba? Pupunta ka pa ng library. Okay. Susunod, pagdating sa digital, tignan ko yung comment ninyo. TripAdvisor, that's true. Sayang effort pagpunta kung hindi ka rin naman pala masasatisfy. Correct. Sa TripAdvisor, lalo na yung accommodation, diba? Okay, susunod. Ayan, ito, I learned about Facebook chatbot. Nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, I was thankful naman. Isa sa mga seminars or webinars na na-attendan ko is how to set up chatbot. Ako mismo yung nag-set up nitong sa amin. Tignan niyo po ito. Pumunta po kayo sa namin, Facebook page namin. If you have an extra cellphone or iPad, there is what we call the auto reply. Okay? When you message us on Facebook, there is an immediate reply. That's from the chatbot. And I was the one who inputted all of that. I'm very, very proud of myself kasi hindi naman ako ganyan. Hindi ako sobrang techie. Mas techie yung husband ko. Pero I was able to do this. I'm so proud of myself. Diba? Yung tipong pag-click mo, automatic na may magre-respond. Kaya yung response rating namin is very high. Kasi nga, there are already choices. Domestic ba gusto mo? International ba gusto mo? Tapos pag clinic mo yung domestic, what do you want? Is it tour packages? Flight ba? Ganon. So, hindi ko na kailangan gumastos sa e-commerce. Nandito na lahat sa chatbot, diba? Ang galing. And this one, is the e-commerce naman is another platform where we can add to cart. Diba? Sino sa inyong mahilig sa Shopee, Lazada, o kaya naman Zalora, yung mga mahilig mag-add to cart. Every week merong add to cart. Diba? Between me and my husband, mas madali siyang mag-add to cart. Kasi nga nandun na lahat. He does not go to SM anymore. If he needs anything, he just goes to Shopee or Lazada. Add to cart agad. Biglang mamaya, ting dong, delivery. Diba? O kaya naman, you go to Grab. Ando na, may Grab food, may lahat na lang. It's all digital, ladies and gentlemen. There are also downsides of this one, but we have to face it. We are now in the digital era. Okay? And we have to embrace it, adopt with it, and then take advantage of it in a good way, of course. Diba? Digital. Okay. Uso na ngayon yung tinatawag natin na pag digital, it also means virtual. Okay? 15 minutes lang kasi ako, kaya hindi ko na nabigay sa inyo yung mga trend nowadays, yung mga classic, all kinds of tourism na-introduce ngayong pandemic or na-form because of this pandemic. But just to give you an idea, everything has become digital. Like, kunwari, meron ng virtual tour, virtual experience. Like, for example, meron yung nakita ako sa Airbnb, yung chef, nagde-demonstrate siya. He's a chef from Italy, and then he demonstrates his cooking on how he does cooking, and then may mga students siya online na naka-live. O, diba? So these are just some of the things that has innovated or that has sprouted during the pandemic. Everything is digital, and we have to embrace that. All right. Now let's have a review. Sabi, window phone shopping hanggang add to cart lang. Ah, okay. Oo nga, no? Kung tayo dati, ang window shopping, titingin ka lang. Pero sa online, hanggang add to cart, tas hindi mo na binabay. Tama naman tong si Maria Nerissa. Okay. At least na-entertain ka. Okay, next, let's have a review of what we have done. That's it. I think my 15 minutes have been maximized already. Resiliency. Sige, can you read it with me, ladies and gentlemen, kahit na hindi nyo na yon yung mic niyo para hindi tayo magkagulo. The first R represents, can you read it with me please or chat it sa baba? Resilient. Next, we have established safety and security. Next, letter P represents heavy, promotion. A, adaptive. We have become flexible and adaptive. I represents innovation. RE represents responsible and sustainable development, and letter D represents digitalization. All right, so that is repaired. Can you say it with me? Chat it sa baba. How have we fought, or how have we recovered? How have we responded to this pandemic in order for us to get back to the better normal? Okay, how? We have repaired it. We have repaired our industry. Okay, ito yung acronym. Ni-repair natin itong industriya natin para makabalik tayo sa better normal, para makabounce back tayo. All right? So that's it. So before I end, I'd like to ask you this question. Wag na yan. From today's webinar, what are your biggest learnings and how will it apply this to your future career? At the end of the day, this webinar is for you, especially the students out there who are listening. This is for you. One, to give you hope. Diba na meron tayong, huwag kayong mawawalang pag-asa, yung industriya natin ito makakabalik din sa dati. Pero mas responsable nga lang. Diba? Sana ganon, ha? Pag bumalik tayo sa normal, maging mas responsable tayo. Okay? So again, you can raise your hand if you want to speak. I'll give you a minute or less than a minute lang. Kahit one statement lang. Or dyan sa chat box. How, sabi ko dito sa question, what are your biggest learnings and how will you apply this to your future career? Kahit ano na lang learnings, anong natutunan ninyo sa webinar ko for today? That's just my last question. Anybody? You can raise your hand if you want to speak. Gusto ko kasi interactive tayo. I used to be a teacher.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, who's there? I cannot see.
Eugene, ma'am.
Kasi go ahead. Speak your mind, my dear. Go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your talk, and thank you for giving us a glimpse. So my major takeaway is that you provide us the glimpse of what will await us, okay, or what our industry, the tourism and hospitality industry, will cope and bounce back in the future. And also for sharing us the concept of adaptive tourism. Indeed, our industry has a lot to offer, and we are now bouncing back through your sharing the repaired concept. So basically, ma'am, every part of the repaired concept that you have discussed, hindi to plan eh. We saw it na during the time na we are experiencing the pandemic, and we will be using these experiences and this way of coping not just during this time but in the future as well. Kaya nga we call it na the now normal, and it's not the new, it's now because it's happening now, and it will be continuing in the future. So I think very important talaga yung sharing mo today, ma'am. Especially to the future members of the tourism and hospitality industry, in which nasa Facebook Live sila. So we have roughly 800 participants in our FB Live through our PWU Facebook page. And
Wow.
yes, ma'am. So I think that's it. That's one of my key takeaways from your talk. And indeed, ma'am, you are also a big part of the success of the tourism industry, not just in Baguio City, but the rest of the Philippines or the rest of the country. Baguio City has a very good protocols, a very good way of coping with this pandemic, and it is a very good model that all other places or destinations here in the Philippines can also adopt. Yes, with what you have shared a while ago, it's really a big help for everyone.
Thank you very much, Sir Eugene. Maraming salamat po. Yes, that's right. And I'm very happy for sharing all of that. Actually, you have summed up everything already. So before I, may mga comment pa dito thank you, Sir Eugene. It was very well said. I'm very happy for that. We need to be as resilient as possible. Pandemic taught us that nothing is permanent in this world. We need to learn to accept change and move on. That's right. That's from Niriza. Digitalization is a major leap in advancing accessibility, marketing, and customer feedback and loyalty. That's from Adrian. And sabi nga ni Ma'am Carol, hope is waving. That's right. Okay, before I end, I just wanted to share with you this last message from me. This has always been my principle in life. Everything happens for a reason. We are designed for a reason. We are here for a reason. Every single event in our life happens for a reason. But if we make this crisis overcome us, then we won't be able to discover what's the purpose of this crisis. So let's just hang on. Do not lose hope. Always keep the faith and always be resilient. We will bounce back. Thank you and good afternoon. Bye. Meron pa ba? Thank you.
And that is Miss Jennifer Malaxa Baltazar. Yes. Thank you, Ma'am Jen, the owner and the general manager of Agatieng Travel and Tours. As what I have said earlier, indeed, ma'am, you are a big part of the success of the tourism industry during this time. And let me share one of the takeaways of my classmates. The pandemic brought numerous issues for the industry, yet it has provided us a number of opportunities, which is why there are lots of new businesses and just open or become known because of the pandemic. It is really important to adapt to all these changes. All right. Again, Miss Jennifer, Miss Jen, taos-pusong pasasalamat po. Maraming salamat, ma'am. Miss Kate?
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, we will open the virtual floor for Miss Jennifer and Chef Anthony for questions regarding their presentation. Kindly use the FB Live and the YouTube chat box for your questions. We will be waiting.
All right, so let's now move to the first half of the much-awaited part of today's program as we bring back Chef Anthony and Miss Jen to answer and exchange ideas during the first panel discussion. May we humbly ask the presence again of our dear experts and speakers to turn off your cameras for the first set of question and answer. So for our first question, Ms. Kate?
Okay, so this question is for Chef Anthony, sir. What has been the most challenging part you experienced during the pandemic, and how were you able to resolve this issue?
Okay. So far, yung challenging talaga is when the pandemic started, closed down, lockdown. We really have to put down the business, and there will be no source of income, diba? So what I did, ako personally, I have to cook. Yung connections ko sa social media, sa mga friends, sa mga students ko before, I never stopped promoting myself. I have to be very visible sa social media, and I have to cook every now and then, post it online. I have to make sure na yung pictures na nilalabas ko, yung mga products na ilalabas ko must have a very good look. You know, kasi yun yung advantage mo eh. So that's why I studied earlier. I said I studied web designing. I studied video editing, graphic designing. I studied food photography at the same time, because it's important na kapag ano yung nilabas mo dun sa social media, yun yung advantage mo kagad sa iba, no? So like sinabi ni Miss Jen kanina, digital. Like, again, this is very important sa atin, sa unique selling proposition natin. Ito yung edge natin sa iba. If you know already how to do a photo shoot para sa food mo, nakakabawas ka kagad ng cost. Kapag post ka ng post, magaganda yung mga pictures na pinopost mo, nabebenta mo yung sarili mo. Nabebenta mo yung produkto mo, may edge ka kagad dun sa mga walang pinopost. Yung mga walang social media manager, yung walang mga social media marketing, yung walang presence sa digital world, di ba? So you have to adapt. Adaptability is very important. So during that time, I've been selling turkeys, I've been selling mga keto diet meals. So I have clients also nagpapa-Culinary 101, merong consultancy, mga restaurants na may problem sa operations nila. So that's how I get myself very, very busy. Hindi ako nawalan ng kita, may mga pumapasok every now and then. Medyo hindi nga lang siya ganun ka-sustainable, but ang importante, hindi ka nawalan ng kita. Hindi ka nawalan ng income. Diba? Kasi importante na you have to be mentally sane. Kasi kapag maghihintay ka lang ng kinabukasan, maghihintay ka ng ayuda o gagastusin mo lahat ng ipon mo lang, walang mangyayari. So, at my age, sabi ko, I'm already 40. But at the same time, I know I am flexible. I can deal with anything. Kasi galing na ako sa pinakamahihirap. Galing ako ng cruise line, galing ako ng catering, galing ako ng fast food. Lahat ng libo-libong mga clients sinaserva namin. So kung pagodan din lang, kung talagang puyat, pagod at hirap, nag-working student din ako, parang naranasan ko na lahat. Ano pa yung hindi ko kayang gawin, sabi ko. I just have to take actions. Sa industry, I also have a business during that time. I have to close down. But it doesn't stop me. Sinabi ni Miss Jen, yung isang restaurant sa Baguio, I know that. It's the thing na isasara ko ba o hindi. Yung decision na yan, mahirap yun. No? Kasi there's pride and ego, there's blood and sweat. But at the same time, if this is a good decision na magiging mas mabuti para sa iyo, mas magiging mabuti para sa lahat, I think you have to make a decision. And then, we have now yung economy, we're bouncing back. So, tuloy-tuloy lang. Do not stop. Kung sa tingin mo, eto na yung nagawa mong trabaho, ito na yung industry mo, ito na yung profession mo, pero dahil nagpandemya, tinamaan ka, sapul ka, don't stop. Find a way to innovate. Innovation is very important. I-innovate mo yung skills mo, kung ano yung nalalaman mong skills, profession, baka there's a way for you to sell your services, your skills digitally. Baka pwede kang gumawa ng libro, di ba? You can sell online. You can do an online content and then sell it. for 100 pesos, 500 pesos. There's a lot of people right now doing it. Graphic designing, visual artists, how to do a business plan, how to do how to start up a food business. Yung sa akin, how to start a food business. I'm selling it for 199. It's all content. I don't have to rent, diba? But I have to learn how to, face the audience. I have to know how to do my slides. Well, there's a lot of ways. Still, before you do it, make sure that you are prepared. Make sure that you learn the trade first. It's not enough that you know what you know right now kasi. So may pandemic nga kaya tayo kailangan mag-adapt. Adaptability is very important. Okay? So yun yung sa akin. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Chef, that we should not stop. Hence, or we should move forward, and as we innovate new things for us to cope with these adversities that we are experiencing right now. Oh, okay. So this question is the same questions will the same question will be addressed to Miss Jen. Okay. So again, the question is, what has been the most challenging part of the pandemic, or what has been the most challenging part that you have experienced during the pandemic, and how were you able to resolve or address these challenges?
Okay. Keeping my sanity. That's the most challenge. Diba? For me, keeping my sanity in the sense that, I'm a very, kasi ako, parang I'm an extrovert person. We have different kinds of personalities. For people who are like me, yung mga extrovert, I cannot be locked down in a closet. I need to go out. I'm a traveler. I do adventures as well. So mahirap for us to adjust to that kind of situation. So keeping my sanity means that I need to be able to, I need to be positive in things. I need to keep my faith high, and of course the hope, and I need to be productive. Kapag hindi kasi ako productive, I'm dull, I'm stagnant, nothing's happening. I don't feel happy, depression crawls. Diba? Magiging creepy yung depression. So that's what I did. So I need to be productive. So tas that time pa nawalan kami ng kasama sa bahay, and I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I have felt how much they're seeking to go out, but we can't. So seeing my family and my children going through that, syempre it's really difficult. It's very challenging. Yung anak ko, medyo emotional ako kasi when it comes to my children, parang napakahirap. Tignan mo. Yung, mommy, I want to play with Yuan. That's our neighbor. And then the neighbor cannot allow their child play with my son. Diba? Parang ang hirap. Sumiiyak siya. Niyakan niya ako. Mommy, why do they not want to play with me? Is there a problem with me? Gaganyan na yung anak ko, mommy. They don't like me. Sabi ko, I know, anak. It's not that they do not like you. You have to explain everything. So that's the most difficult part, is yung keeping yourself together in this time of pandemic. That's the first one. And of course, the second one is like the uncertainty of the future. Uncertainty of the future. Hindi mo alam kung anong mangyayari kinabukasan. Yung tipong nung December of 2020, nagsisimula na kami, nakakuha ko ng mga projects, ng mga government projects, because we are a PhilGEPS registered organization. So it means that you can, get projects with government. We have complete papers, accredited and all, di ba? So nakakuha ako ng bidding, nanalo ako sa isang bidding. Tapos kinakabahan ka lagi na pero baka mamaya kinabukasan biglang mag-lockdown na naman. So yung fear of uncertainty, fear of tomorrow. And the last one is of course yung tao ko. The most challenging is to be able to maintain our income in order for me to provide for my staff. Kasi ako, more than myself, I always think about my staff. Kasi ako, kaya kung sabi nga ng husband ko, close mo na kasi yan. Honestly, my husband was telling me, close it down. It's giving you so much stress. Kaya sobrang nakaka-relate ako kay Chef. Kasi sabi niya, pride and ego, that is true. It's blood and sweat. It's 11 years of blood, sweat, cry, hirap, tagumpay, lahat na. So, ang hirap po para sa isang owner na i-close basta-basta yung negosyo mo without giving up, without giving a fight. Diba? So, ang hirap for me kasi yung tao ko yung iniisip ko. Kahit na advantageous for me to close it down kasi lesser ang expensive. So, those are the three key points, three key challenges that I have encountered. So how did I overcome this ones? Yun, nasabi ko na lahat kanina. The repaired, I use all that strategies. Repaired from innovation, adaptability, flexibility, keeping faith, keeping yourself, And then, pinaka-key doon is yung productivity. Hindi ako pwedeng hindi maging productive. Otherwise, yun nga sabi ko, depression will creep in. Tapos it will destroy your mind na kung ano-anong iisipin mo and all. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jen. Okay, so that concludes the first part of the panel discussion. Thank you to our first set of industry experts, Chef Anthony and Ms. Jen. We will address more questions later for the second half of the Q&A part. Sir Eugene?
All right, so moving forward to introduce our last, but definitely not the least speaker. May we call on the virtual floor one of the organizers, Mr. Adrian Basilio.
Good day, everyone. It is with utmost pleasure that I present you our next speaker. Currently, he is the president of Pastry Alliance of the Philippines. He is a certified rock star on and off the kitchen. Together with his colleagues, Peng Ching, Jackie Ampo, Dan Basilio, and James Anthony, they form the Pastry Alliance of the Philippines. Their goal is to expand the knowledge of pastry arts in the Philippines through demos, classes, seminars, as well as develop young talents to represent the Philippines in international competitions. Since 2008, they competed in Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, Korea, Italy, and France, winning over 30 medals in various categories. He qualified for the Coupe du Monde de la Pâtisserie in April of 2014, and this is the first time ever for the Philippines to compete in the world's biggest pastry competition. They came in 12 out of 24 countries and took home the award for Best Ice Sculpture in the competition. He is a Filipino bread ambassador of a global association of Les Ambassadeurs du Pain. He earned his diploma in professional baking in Los Angeles Trade-Off Institute in 1998. He completed a professional course in pastry and chocolate in École du Grand Chocolat Barola in Caen and Hermitage in France. He is the owner of Park Avenue Desserts, former consultant of the Manila Peninsula Hotel, a culinary and pastry instructor, and a WOFEX mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm virtual applause for Chef Buddy Trinidad.
Good afternoon, Chef Buddy.
Good afternoon. Can you guys see me?
Yes, sir. We can see you po.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Hi, everyone. Very informative afternoon. This is nice. Hold on, let me fix my... Is that better? Hang on. Let me put something behind my iPad here. I fixed this na kanina eh.
Yes, sir. Better, sir.
Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Very clear, sir.
Oh, body na lang, please. Sir. Paano kung sir? Shall I start?
Yes. Yes,
All
Chef.
right. All right. First of all, I want to thank Mitch for inviting me to be part of this afternoon. No. Also, I want to thank everyone that has taken the time off to be here today. You know, especially this Saturday. I know everyone's busy. It's 2 days before a very important date in our country's history. So thanks a lot for that. Now, I don't have any graphs. I don't have any pictures or anything like that, but I will talk from experience about what's happened in my life. And this past March, marked the 40th year, 40 years of myself being in the industry. So I guess I'm old. Okay. What I'd like to talk about, I would like to address. My background is in the hotel industry, and I am a pastry chef by profession. So that is where I'm coming from. So if there's anyone out there who would like to be a chef, be a pastry chef, own your own shop, own your own business, retail business, this would be informative for you guys, okay? And I hope everybody gets something from it as well. So we're talking about success here. We're talking about success indicators, and success has always been a part of our nightmares. Growing up, I want to be a success in school, success in sports, success in pretty much anything. And as we grow older, the levels and priorities of the meaning of the word success changes. Now, since you guys some of you are still in school and some are fresh grads, so you're still very young. Hopefully, some of you are already working in your chosen profession. In other words, you are working in the industry where you went to school for. A lot of times you go into you take up business and then you end up, doing something else. So my hope is that you guys are already working in your chosen profession. So let's define exactly what success is. Success is different to many people, okay? For some people, success is recognition. Okay? Uy, yung business ko, lumabas na kami sa magazine, lumabas na kami sa dyaryo. Kita mo ba? Baso ba? Full page. Business ko. Andun yung pictures ng food ko, restaurant ko, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And then you get invited sa TV, demo ka doon sa, morning show or what have you. So for a lot of people, this equates to success. This means to them they've made it, because maybe prior to starting their business, they would watch these people on TV and going, I want to be that. I want to do that. I want to get there. How do I get there? So when they've achieved that, so sa kanila success na yun, no? Another success story could be happy customers. Okay, if I have a restaurant, and for me, basta happy ang customer ko, successful na ako. Okay? Lalo na pag bumabalik yung customer. So repeat customers are loyal customers, and a lot of times, obviously, then the business will be successful. So this is one way of judging success. And the last one is monetary. Okay? Pag umabot ako ng ganitong sales, successful na ako. Okay? So pera. Pera. In other words, you will do anything to make money. Okay? So these are three levels of success, or not levels. These are three, versions, I guess, of success that people think make them successful. Okay. For me, of the three, the only legit one really are the happy customers. Okay, because you're not only feeding them, you're making them obviously happy because they're happy customers. They become loyal customers. And what happens to loyal customers? These loyal customers become your friends. Okay, and really for me, that is what it's all about, is growing the community. Okay, but I'll get back to that later. Okay, so all of this really starts with a dream, right? A dream to be successful. But that dream didn't start out as being successful. The dream started out with I have a great recipe of adobo. I have a great recipe of a chocolate cake. I have a great recipe of an apple pie. I can turn this into a business. I want other people, I brought it to a party and people were telling me, oh, you should open a bakery. You should open a restaurant. This is the best adobo I've ever had. This is the best apple pie I've ever had. So that's where it starts, right? So the dream is for you to sell your apple pie. The dream is for you to sell your adobo. So that's where the dream starts. And then the success comes in, right? Which one is it? Is it the TV, the being featured in a magazine or making money? Then that kicks in. Okay. But my advice is this. No matter what the dream is for you, money should be the result of the hard work and not the focus or motivation of your dream. Okay? Because the moment money becomes the focus or motivation, without you realizing it, you are now cutting corners. I need to make more money because my landlord raised the rent. So let's change the chocolate. Let's change the chocolate from this chocolate to that chocolate, which is cheaper. Hindi naman malalaman na, hindi naman mahalata. Okay? And then before you know it, you're losing customers and you don't know why. Hey, because you believe the chocolate is chocolate, which of course, as we all know, it's not. Right? One chocolate from the other is very, very, very different. That's what happens if you will do anything for money. Okay? So, one thing I'd like to, there are about 6 things that I would like to talk about. One of them is, the first one obviously is the focus. What is our focus? Now, when we focus on our dreams, we start out with like that, a restaurant or a bakery, okay? So I'm gonna focus on that, a restaurant or a bakery. I'm gonna use bakery, okay, because that's what I've done. So I wanna open a bakery, I wanna open a neighborhood bakery because I wanna be the neighborhood baker. Because I believe in the community. I believe the community is the best business model ever. It is the most sustainable business model ever. Okay? So many malls have opened and closed, they made millions, they've also lost millions. But if you open a bakery, you open a shop in the neighborhood, the community there, the neighborhood will patronize your restaurant, your bakery, your shop, day in, day out, and they become your friends. You become closer to them, they become closer to you. You know their name when they walk in and everything. You know everyone's birthday. You know who's getting married. You're the one making the wedding cake and all of this and so on and so forth. So when you have a specific focus, you have to think, okay, a lot of people have bakeries. I want to open a bakery. I have to have a competitive edge. What is my competitive edge? What will make me different, right? When I opened my shop, Park Avenue Desserts, my competitive edge was customization. I opened Park Avenue 22 years ago. At that time, the goal for me was to supply restaurants and hotels with dessert. My competitive edge was customization, like I said. Whatever they want, I can make it. They want Italian dessert, I'll make them Italian dessert. French restaurant, I'll make French. Pinoy restaurant, I'll make Pinoy desserts. Japanese, I'll make Japanese desserts. Okay? Because during that time, in 2000, I was meeting these different chefs, and their biggest problem was when they would talk to a dessert supplier, the dessert supplier would hand them a menu saying, here, choose from this menu. The guy has an Italian restaurant, but the menu is, cheesecake, sans rival, buko pandan. Diba? So, hindi babagay, hindi shoot sa restaurant niya. Pero, that's it. Those were the limitations back then. So, this was my competitive edge. So, if you want to open a business, regardless of what it is, whether it's a bakery or anything, a store selling shoes, you have to have a competitive edge. And this has to be part of your focus. All right? So obviously, you have to have a strategic plan. How do you go about it? What do we do? Now, second thing I want to talk about is flexibility. So the last 2 years has really shown us that we need to change, right? I've heard the last two speakers talk about the pandemic as a crisis. Honestly, I believe that this word crisis was really, ang tinamahan talaga dito yung mga nawalan ng pera. Who are the really big businesses? I'm talking about the big boys. The ones that own all the malls, the ones that own, all the big businesses. Because all the small businesses, all the bakeries, all the small restaurants, all of them survived. In fact, a lot of them did so much better than pre-pandemic because of the neighborhood, because of the community. My shop is in Magallanes, which is where I live. And a lot of the people that live in the village rediscovered us during the pandemic. Ika nga, they fell in love again. Sa totoo, yun mga talagang nainis lang sa pandemic was the people that couldn't collect rent because the malls were closed. I remember the speaker that before me said, things happen for a reason. Absolutely true. I believe, for me, this happened for us to get closer together, for us to get to know each other on a ground level, which is the neighborhood, which is the community. Get to know your neighbor. We get too stuck looking at our phones. We don't know who lives beside us. But because of the pandemic, we got to know. Here in Magallanes, we are so close, so tight. We have our own Viber group here. We're in. If I need a AA battery, I can just go on there, and then I can walk to the house, and they'll give me one AA battery. One. I don't have to buy a pack or anything. And a lot of times they'll just give it. This pandemic taught us how to care again about each other. What is really important? Okay, I'll get back to that later. So when I'm talking about flexibility, this is my second point. Management, like us, management, we must be able to adjust to the changes as the business grows and different markets are created. And that's what happened during the pandemic. A different market was created. Well, actually, the market was already there, but this market was just put up. Noon kasi, ang dine-in market was up here. Ang delivery market was just, it was just convenient. Tinatamad ako, sige, order ka ng pagkain. Pero everybody wanted to go out. Let's go eat there. Okay? So, the shift from dine-in to delivery changed, right? But delivery has always been there. It's just that the restaurants, failed to really capitalize on this. I mean, there were very few restaurants that focused on delivery. It was just pizza places, right? But during the pandemic, all of a sudden, it was every single restaurant because they had to. Diba? Now, service became more important because people just needed food. So service. So now everyone started delivering. Okay, so this is about flexibility. We have to be able to adapt. We have to be able to adjust. Okay, but what's key here is integrity. Okay, we cannot sacrifice the integrity of our product based on delivery. Okay, so I remember for the longest time, Jollibee did not deliver French fries because they said it would be different by the time it got to you. So, but now they do. Okay, another thing is out with the old and in with the new. Okay, what do I mean by that? A lot of companies that still do business the old way are being left behind by their younger counterparts, okay, by these kids. Okay, they will make some changes. You know, the old businesses will make some changes. You know, they'll be like, uy, kailangan sumali tayo dyan sa social media. Mag-hire tayo ng bata. O sige, o ikaw, bata ka, ikaw may alam dyan sa social media. O sige, ikaw bahala dyan. Ha? So ito, itulak mo, ganito, ganyan, ganyan. They're thinking that by doing that, they'll be able to get the market that is already on social media and this and that and everything. But back at the house, they're still running it the old way. You know, in other words, they're still having meetings that start at 8 and end at 5. It takes them 2 weeks to decide on something. You know, kailangan meron 10 signature, pipirmahan yung reco memo, tapos kailangan umakyat sa ganyan, and then kailangan basahin ni ganito, and then before you know it, it's 4 months later before a new product hits, you know, goes on the menu. By that time, wala na. Gas-gas na yung product na yun. Ang dami nang gumagawa. This is the old way of doing business. You know, my brother-in-law who lives in Seattle, worked for what's his name? Bill Gates. And he also worked for what's his name? The Google guy. What's his name? Is it Jeff Bezos? Right? I forget. I think it's Jeff Bezos. And they would have department head meetings. This is a true story. They would have department head meetings, and the department head meetings would last 45 minutes. That's it. They would all walk into the meeting, and a piece of paper was there on the table. One piece of paper. The top half of the piece of paper was a brief on what they were supposed to deliver. In other words, what we agreed on last meeting, this is it, right? And then towards the bottom of that, it said what the company wants to do next. And then at the bottom of that, you were to think about how you would execute that one. Okay? And then he would come in after 20 minutes, and then he would go around the room. Okay, you, next. Boom, 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 boom. So all he wanted to do was to hear, how would you attack that task? How would you do that on there? 45 minutes, right? These old businesses, they still, takes 3 days to get a meeting done, okay? So I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that they're being left behind. If they choose to do it that way, that's all and fine because they're comfortable with it. Okay? Pero maiiwan sila. And we're seeing it today. Okay? Number 4, hiring competent managers. A lot of times, the big businesses hire based on trust, other than based on competency. Okay? Sino ha-hire natin dito? Kunin natin si ganyan, Kunin natin si Buddy. Kilala ko si Buddy. Oo, pero hindi naman pagkain to eh. Yeah, pero I trust Buddy. Let's put Buddy there. Yeah, but if it's not the person's competent, if the person doesn't know how to do that, it'll take forever for that person to learn, and you're gonna make mistakes and this and that and so on and so forth. But the person is there because they trust that person. What happens there? There's no learning. That the person still has to learn. The people under that person will be lost as well, because that person is lost because he doesn't know what he's doing. But he's hired because he's trusted by the owner or by the top management. What happens, it takes now longer to get anything done. So my advice is to hire competent people. Use them. Learn from these competent people because they already have experience. Okay? A lot of times as business owners, we are too controlling. You know, feeling natin, Kia tayo. Kia, know it all. You know what I mean? We have to be able to let it go, hire people competent to do a specific job, and that's why we hire them. So we should trust them and let it go. Okay? Because by hiring competent top management, they'll be able to train and manage the supervisors and the staff, right? And this will now raise the level of skill and improve productivity. So the company can consistently increase their growth, obviously, and their bottom line. Now, number 5, invest in human resources. A lot of businesses, invest heavily in machinery. Yung mga, whatever it may be, whether it's the food industry or others, they invest. That's okay if you want to invest in machinery. Okay, but you also have to invest in human resources. What I was talking about kanina, the hiring competent managers. Okay, so you have to do both. Hindi lang pwede yung, hire natin to, again, total, push button lang naman niya. Okay, all products go back to integrity. Diba? Yes, it's making that product. Pero is it up to standard? Is it substandard? Is it, diba? Too long, this country has been, our favorite word is pwede na yan. Enough for me, huh? Enough. Diba? We should not settle. We should not settle. Okay? Number 6, we should realize what works for your business. Okay, not all systems, policies, and procedures and business practices will work for your business. Okay, if you're a factory, let's say you have a factory making bread. Let's say your Gardenia factory yan, fully automated making bread. And then you want to open, and then Gardenia says, bukas tayo ng artisanal. Okay? You won't be able to take your policies and procedures from the Gardenia factory and put it into the artisanal bakery. It's not going to work. Okay? I understand they're both food. I understand they're both bread, but it's not the same business. So, this has to be realized. Okay? And also to the home business. Okay? Some things are okay, like maybe inventory, but how you treat, how you come across, training the people and everything is completely different. Okay? So, in the end, we go back to the beginning. Why did we go into this business? What was our goal? Again, is it to make money? Is it, to have happy customers? Is it financial success? Right? In the US, in the height of the pandemic, okay, so everything was curbside. Okay, everything was curbside. Very little places had delivery, but so I would go to the bakeries. I would go to at least 3-4 bakeries a week outside, and I would talk to the managers. This is in Seattle. I would talk to the managers about what they were doing to survive, and they said, what we did was they realized what their bottom line was, how much break even. So they tailored their menu based on that if we sold these items and this many of these items, then they'd be able to pay all labor and rent and all of that, and that's it. And then everybody went home because they were more concerned with everyone's safety than they were concerned with kita. Okay, so the priorities changed. What happened during the last 2 years during this pandemic is that priorities changed. These people in these bakeries realized how it was more important to keep these people fed, to keep these people working, and to keep them safe. So the owner sacrificed his, making money to just bare minimum. Let's just keep people safe. So these bakeries that I would go to, I'd search, the time, right, that they were open, and it'd say open from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. I'd go there at 1 o'clock and it was closed. So I'm like, what's the deal? I would go the next day at 8 in the morning, and there's a line around the corner of people buying bread, pastries, and so on. By the time I got there, I asked them, I said, I was here yesterday and you guys were closed at 1 o'clock. And they said, yeah, because we sold out by 10:30. So all the stuff that they make is just enough, like I said, to pay for everything. So this is what happened during the pandemic. Our priorities, our true priorities were realized. Okay? We now realize what we really need to survive, not what we need because we want. Diba? The last 2 years really showed us how much useless stuff we have in our house. I had so much, and during the pandemic, I gave them away. Here in the village, I would just give them away. I have this. Who wants it? Come get it. And they just picked it up. It was the communities really that prevailed, survived. Like I said, kanina, the neighbors helped each other and got to know each other. For me, this was the real reason why this happened. It felt like Noah's Ark is what, I wasn't at Noah's Ark, right? But it felt like this is what Noah's Ark was like. Diba? Also, we discovered hidden talents. So many people discovered, ang galing ko pala mag-bake, ang galing ko magluto. So now they discovered the true passion. My son's best friend, who was a business major in LaSalle. Okay, and he really, really loved it and everything. Business major shop. Boom, pandemic hit, right? And then little by little, I was getting texts from him asking me for like a bread recipe, sourdough recipe. So I gave him a little sourdough starter, sent him a recipe. And then before you know it, he was bringing me samples. I made this, Tito Buddy. Can you give me advice on the bread? Or this or that. He realized that he loved baking. Now he has his own business out of his house. He's making pizzas, he's making burgers, So for me, this is great because he would have ended up working at a place and be unhappy, So, that's my time. I hope you guys learned something from it. My last advice for you guys is really to, when you do something, it's to go with to help the community. Let's start small. We don't need to think world global. Let's help the person next door. Because when the time comes, the people from Sweden aren't going to help you. It's the person next door. And that's how we survive, by helping each other. So that's my 15 minutes. Thank you again, Mitch, for inviting me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Chef Wally Trinidad, President of the Alliance of the Philippines. So, Chef, we certainly learned that success comes in different forms, especially on focusing on our dreams, flexibility, and integrity and adaptability. We will now proceed with the Q&A. This is from Miss Sayan from FB. She asked a question to you, Chef.
Yep.
Where did you get the courage or motivation to continue despite the industry's stagnancy in the peak of the pandemic?
Where did I get the courage and the
motivation?
Motivation. Oh, I love baking.
Mm-hmm.
I love baking, and for me, you know, God has blessed me with, and I wasn't always a baker. I fell in love with baking purely by accident. I was in UP, and my course was human kinetics. So I was going to be I've been an athlete all my life. So I was going to be a coach. I was going to be, you know, a physical therapist and everything. But my mom was a baker. My mom was a baker ever since I was very small. So I started baking at home, one cake at a time. And I fell in love with the creating something from nothing part, you know, because you have flour, sugar, eggs, butter, and then at the end you have this thing, this structure, this cheesecake, this cake that really 2 hours ago was nothing. It was just a bunch of ingredients. So that's the part that I fell in love with. Anyway, so I moved to the US in '85, and my mom said, if you want to live here with me, you have to finish school. So I picked culinary school, just out of para lang I can go to school, you know. But I really went to the States to pursue music, to be in a band. But one thing led to another, and then before you knew it, I was already being promoted, and then they were now sending me to other states to open other restaurants and everything. And 40 years later, here I am, still baking. You know, it's so yeah, I believe when God gives you a talent, when God blesses you, the role is not to bless you. The purpose is not to bless you. The purpose is for the blessing given to you is for you to bless others. So by blessing me with this, you know, I constantly do demos. I constantly teach, year in, year out. I'm always in different cities all over the Philippines, teaching, doing demos. I'm open to anyone who wants any recipe of anything. If they want advice on anything, I don't charge for any. There's no point, you know. So sharing is for me is mandatory. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you for that, Chef. And yeah, we'll bear that in mind, that your sharing is caring. Okay.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. Thank you. Yes, that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know we want more time, but we have come to the end of our panel discussion. Thank you so much, Chef. So we will be forwarding some of the questions from FB. Sorry, sir, pero marami pa po kasing tanong. We just we're just short on time. Okay. To our most respected experts, Miss Jennifer Palaksa Baltasar, Chef Anthony Ballesteros, and Chef Buddy Trinidad, buong pasasalamat sa inyong oras at panahon.
All right. And to provide us with a synopsis of what has transpired during this webinar, may we call on to the virtual floor the representatives from the MACA and DHM classes, Ms. Ray Michelle Hernandez and Mr. Ivan Dean Salakata.
This was a great webinar that offered a ton of information. We have learned a lot, and I'm sure our participants as well. Let us take a recap on what has been discussed. From our first guest speaker, Chef Anthony Ballesteros, he shared 3 key points as his success indicators. First, effective communication. Second is people management. Lastly, unique selling proposition. The remarkable facts are innovation, offer something that is necessity and unique in this time of pandemic. And of course, we have to avoid false promises. Honesty is always the best policy. We have to be truthful to ourselves, our consumers, and service or product that we offer. Next to Mr. Ivan Dean Salakata to give his thoughts on Ms. Jennifer Baltasar's speech.
Thank you, Ma'am Ray. So for the second speaker, for Miss Jennifer Palaksa Baltasar, so I quoted and I've reflected that in order to bounce from pandemic, there must be business continuity through competent business planning and organizational development. Also, the repaired, as what she discussed, meaning resilient, establish safety and security, promotion, adaptive and flexible, innovative, responsible and sustainable, and digital. And of course, pandemic brought numerous issues for the industry, yet it is provided us a number of opportunities, which is why there are lots of new businesses that just opened or became known because of the pandemic. It is really important to adapt to all the changes. So, and lastly, for Chef Buddy, the 3 versions of success, I've noted that success is recognition, achievement is considered to be success, happy customers are also indicators of success, and monetary, making more profit where money is the result, not the focus. Ma'am Ray?
What I want to add about Chef Buddy Trinidad is that he has an amazing journey towards success as a pastry chef, mentor, and a successful businessman. Like what he said, seeing his customers happy makes him successful. So profit is next. We have to love what we do. One remarkable fact is in his speech is never sacrifice or integrity. He inspires a lot in culinary and hospitality industry. Thank you so much to our dear guest speaker, Chef Anton, Ma'am Jen, and Chef Buddy for sharing your knowledge and time with us.
All right, thank you very much, Chef Ray and Sir Ivan. And now let us present the certificates of appreciation to our distinguished guest speakers as a form of gratitude. So let me read the citation. Philippine Women's University hereby awards the certificate of appreciation to the following guest speakers. First, Chef Buddy Trinidad. Thank you very much. Next slide.
Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Jennifer Palaksa Baltazar. And lastly, Chef Anthony Ballesteros, in grateful and sincerest gratitude for their selfless and commendable service rendered as resource speaker during the conduct of the webinar entitled Hospitality and Tourism Strategic Roadmap, Success Indicators of Competent Business Planning and Organizational Development, given the 7th day of May 2022 at the Philippine Women's University, Manila, Philippines. Signed by our dear professors, Dr. Maria Erlinda S. Zacarias, Professor Organizational Development, and Dr. Angelina U. Blanco, Professor Business Planning and Hospitality Industry. And signed by our Dean of the School of Hospitality Management, Philippine Women's University, Dr. Ephraim Well Jose L. Abellana. Again, to our distinguished speakers, thank you very much. And to give us the closing message, may we call on to the virtual floor another main reason behind the success of this event. Please help me welcome the program manager of this webinar, Ms. Jackie Holst Jamante. Ms. Jackie.
A pleasant afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to thank our dear speakers today for giving their time to join and share their expertise with our industry partners, classmates, schoolmates, and the student participants who are viewing via live stream on FB and YouTube. I would also like to thank our dear Dean Prime Abellana, our professors, Dr. Maria Erlinda Zacarias, Dr. Angelina Blanco, and Dr. Jocelyn Sardena, and of course, our PW faculty and staff for making this webinar possible. I would also like to give my appreciation to my committee members for yet another successful webinar with our partner section, Master of Science in Culinary Arts. This webinar is genuinely a significant accomplishment and another milestone learning for our participants. Once again, thank you very much for your unending support, and I hope you join us again next time. Mabuhay, Philippine Women's University.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Romante. This webinar will not be possible without your exceptional leadership of moving forward in excellence. And to the rest of the hardworking team of the DHM and MSCA classes, what a great job. We are also extending our utmost appreciation to our class advisors, Dr. Angie Blanco, Dr. Jocelyn Sardenia, and Dr. Erlinda Zacarias, and to our beloved dean, Dr. Prime Abellana, for your continuous guidance and support, not only for this webinar, but with our journey in the graduate program. Thank you.
All right. So moving forward, flash on the screen right now is the QR code for the evaluation form of our event. And the same link is now being added in the FB or Facebook, as well as YouTube live chat boxes as we speak. We would highly appreciate for you to send us your feedback on this webinar. This shall also be the basis for the sending of our participants a certificate. Our evaluation team shall update you via your email for your e-certificates. In case for any follow-ups with regards to your e-certificates or any evaluation-related concerns, please contact the email address being shown on the screen.
Thank you, everyone. To our participants from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and the rest of the world, we really appreciate you being here. We really hope that you have enjoyed and absorbed all the learnings and discussions we've had this afternoon. To our dearest guest speakers for the shared insights, thank you so much. On behalf of the organizing team, we extend our deepest gratitude for your appreciation in this webinar. Once again, I am Kathleen Morante, and together with PW Doctor of Hospitality Management and MS in Culinary Arts students, we are always at your service. Sir Eugene?
Thank you very much, partner. And my name is Mr. Eugene Benicta, who wishes you all a safe and a healthy day ahead. It is now time for the singing of the PWU hymn. Thank you very much.